The one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're doing Pesachim Perek Gimel, Mishnah Beis and Gimel. Mishnah Beis states, Basek Shebesitke Areva. Apparently they didn't have their own set of dishes for Pesach and non-Pesach. They had bowls they used to mix dough in, right? They mixed their dough. They make matzah on Pesach. And you had some dough from chametz that was, it's an old bowl, has some cracks over there. So the dough got stuck. It's stuffing up these cracks over there. If, right, the reason you're keeping this chametz over there in the holes is to plug it up. So if there's a kazayas of dough there, obviously it's not royal achila, but if it's kazayas, you're chayiv levar. If it's less than a kazayas, you're not chayiv levar. However, this is only talking about if it's to strengthen the bowl, but if it's just not to strengthen the bowl, you really want to get rid of it. You might eat it, so even less than a kazayas, you have to get rid of it. V'imlo batel miyuto. V'imlo batel miyuto. If it's not a kazayas, it's batel miyuto as long as it's meant to just kept there, because you're not going to eat it over there, because you're keeping it to shore up the holes in your bowl. The cheling in tuma. This is not related to Maseches Pesachim, but related to Hilchas Tuma V'Tara. For if you have a bowl which is touched by a sheret and it doesn't touch the actual bowl itself, it touches these holes which are filled up with dough in your kneading bowl. So it depends. It doesn't depend on a kazayas or not. Kazayas is only regarding Hilchos Pesach, but by Tuma, it depends if you're makbid Allah. If you're makbid Allah, I don't want it there. So it's chotzitz. It's chotzitz. It's not touching the actual. I want to get rid of it. It's not touching the actual bowl. It doesn't make it the bowl tameh. But rozi b'kila, if you want to keep it there, it becomes like the areva, and the whole bowl becomes tameh if you touch with a sheretz. Batzek a chirish. Batzek that is like a deaf person. How do you determine it? So chirish, Ravadi Bartumura explains that it doesn't make any noises when you bake matzahs. Let's say it makes some noises, bake bread, it makes some noises when it's rising. Here, it's like a deaf person. You call it doesn't make any noise. So how do you figure out if it's chametz or not? How much time does it chametz? Everyone says 18 minutes, but this is the Mishnah. The Mishnah says it's not 18 minutes. The real halacha is you have to look at another. If you're creating another loaf, how long is that loaf? That loaf makes some noises or lets you know when it rises. You could see it rise, right? So if that bread took 30 minutes to rise, so this one under 30 minutes, not chametz. And if it's more than 30 minutes, it'll be chametz, raise the aser. And if there's no other bread over there, then Chazal said you rely on a mill. And according to Rabbi Janur, a mill happens to be 24 minutes. So machlok is 18 minutes or 24 minutes, or machmar for 18 minutes. The real opinion over here, Rabbi Janur says it's 24 minutes. So you have 24 minutes if you don't know. But if you have another loaf of bread, you compare it to the loaf of bread, and technically you wouldn't have to worry even after 45 minutes if the other bread hasn't risen yet. We'll talk more about this in Yom Tzion. I don't want to discuss this. Gimel Keza Mafrishin Chala Betuma B'Yom Tov. You're baking matzahs and Yom Tov. When you bake dough, you have to give challah. Whether it's matzah or chametz, you have to give challah. However, the challah became tameh. Now, if it becomes tameh, the problem is that if it wasn't tameh, you can give it to the kohen, he could eat it. But it's tameh now, you have to burn it, right? And it's chametz technically. It should be chametz, right? And you can't burn it because on Yom Tov you can't burn kodshim. So what do you do? Let everything bake. And you can technically call chametz after you bake it. So first you bake it, and once it's baked, it's matzah. There's no problem with chametz. The problem over here is, if you don't do anything with it, it's going to turn into chametz. So bake it, and then call chametz. They're all matzah. And he says the best idea is to throw whatever is supposed to be chal, this dough, which might rise, into really cold water. Or really hot water, we learned, freezes it, does not let it become chametz. I'm Rabbi Yeshua, lo zeh chametz muzarim alav, v'al yirah b'al yimatzeh. You don't have to worry at all, Rabbi Yeshua says. Ela mafrishas v'nichas ha'erek. Challah, right, doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the kohen, right? until you give it to the Kohen, it's not the Kohen. So it's not your thing. You're only over Bali Ra Bali Matzah. It belongs to you. Chal doesn't belong to you. Then Mechmitza, Echmitza, who cares if it becomes Chametz? You're not over Bali Ra Bali Matzah if it doesn't belong to you. And technically, everyone really agrees with Rabbi Yeshua. The question is, Rabbi Eliezer is worried because you might come, even though I'm mafresh challah, I can go to a chacham and matir my challah. I can say I didn't want it to be mafresh as part of challah, and then it becomes yours. So we're worried about that. Rabbi Yeshua says we're not worried about that. We possibly Rabbi Eliezer, we are worried about that. So therefore, the best thing to do is to bake it first. So therefore, it's matzah and not chametz. Stay tuned for Iyam Mitzion, where we discuss Mishnah Beis. How do you figure out exactly, estimate when something has become chametz or not? It's a very interesting question. Really has practical ramifications. Iyam Mitzion coming up next.